baby, oh baby, good morning to everybody out there getting off their graveyard shift. If you're at work, what is happening? By the way, the last segment was sponsored by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises. Good morning to YouTube, Twitch, the Xfinity mobile text line. Let's get back into the dubs. Let's say good morning to all the strippers, the baby mamas, the baby daddies along Sherman. Water departments, both San Francisco and Daly City. Big time, big time. By the way, some big coaching news. FDU wins as a 16 seed. Iona wants to go get Tobin Anderson. He was a finalist for that job.
Huh?
Top target.
Who?
Yeah, I know.
What?
Tobin Anderson. Also, Rick Pitino going to St. John's. St. John's.
The vampire.
Patino's back in the game.
Of course he is. He was like, oh, the NIL is more scummier than I am. I'm back.
Back in Manhattan. Back in the big time.
And by the way, if you're outraged by Patino getting back in, like, look around the sports. I mean, come on. You know how this works.
Right, let's get to Chuck Cooperstein.
If you can recruit, right. I can look the other way.
Let's get to Chuck Cooperstein, voice of the Dallas Mavericks. We've had him on before, and look, it's a big game tomorrow night. Warriors at 37-36. Mavericks at 36-36. Both teams 4-6 in their last 10. Warriors coming off a lackluster win over the Houston Rockets. Mavericks losing a tough one to the Memphis Grizzlies. Chuck, good morning. What is happening? Welcome back to the roast.
Morning to y'all. A lot earlier out there than it is here.
No doubt about it. 8 o'clock. We get up early out here, Chuck. The sun's not even up yet. So what about Kyrie Irving? Let's start there with Kyrie and Luka. Kyrie left the game yesterday, I guess, or he left the stadium, FedEx Forum, with a walking boot on. What's going on with Kyrie Irving and his injury?
Well, he's had this injury. That's the injury that forced him to miss 3 games before the Laker game last Friday. And he and Dylan Brooks got tangled up last night. Shock on shock. But really, this was not anything untoward by Brooks. It was just something that happened during natural play. And Kyrie tried to play through it in the fourth quarter. You could tell even when he got hurt in the third that he had limped to the bench and it didn't look really good. But these are the times that try men's souls, and you've got to go out there and try to win games, as many games as you can. And Kyrie has been the best fourth quarter player in the NBA, and the Mavericks obviously had a big lead going to the fourth, and they wanted to be able to salt it away. But he didn't move real well, and he didn't make a shot in the fourth quarter. The Mavericks only made 3 as a team, and they got caught and passed. And so now we'll see. I mean, the boot is a precaution. I think Kyrie very much wants to play, and we'll see if he does. They certainly need him.
Yeah, so 12 points in that fourth quarter, Shaz.
The irony, we just had like a half an hour conversation about why the NBA is obsessed with all the stuff that's not the actual playing of the games. And now I'm going to ask you about something that happened after the game. What happened with the jersey swap between Dylan Brooks and Kyrie Irving?
I didn't see it. Can't tell you.
Oh, no idea, huh?
Nope.
Oh, wow. So you think Kyrie's going to play then tomorrow?
I have no idea.
What about
I mean, I think he very much wants to. I don't think he's looking to ask out. Kyrie certainly has had his issues, and they have been well documented, and indeed the criticism at times has been very well justified. But he has been a model player since he's been with the Mavericks, and sure, there are reasons for that. Not the least of which is he's playing for his contract, and he's got to make sure that he's doing everything the right way, and he is doing everything the right way. If he can go at all, I think he will go tomorrow. As far as Luka, they've tried to, they're doing more stuff with him. He did a lot of post shoot around stuff the last 2 games with the Lakers and last night in Memphis, and they're hoping that he can go. I mean, the fact that they actually called him questionable before ruling him out yesterday is a good sign. But we'll see if 2 more days makes the difference. From the Mavericks standpoint, I'm sure they're hoping that it does, because let's face it. I mean, this game is. I mean, I don't know how the Warriors look at this, but I know from the Mavericks standpoint, given tiebreakers and whatnot, it's absolutely essential because this is the only other game that these teams will play. It's a 1-1 season series, and the tiebreaker could really be the difference between making the top 6 and having to play in the play-in.
Hey, Chuck Cooperstein here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game, voice of the Dallas Mavericks, of course. So Luka left that game March 8th against the Pelicans with the left thigh bruise. Anything else? Because it felt like he was laboring for the previous 2 weeks before that injury he suffered where he left that Pelicans game down in New Orleans.
None that we know of, other than just the normal punishment that he takes, and he does take a bunch of it. But he's he's incredibly tough. I mean, look, he tried to play on the second night of the back-to-back when he got hurt, or at least certainly finally asked out against New Orleans, which he had not played on the second of a back-to-back since early December. So, I think he certainly understood the importance of trying to win that game, and especially, again, they just come off a win at home against Utah to end what had been a very disappointing 3-3 homestand, and it just didn't work. And it's been kind of the story of the Mavericks all season. It's been one step forward and one step back, and when you do that you're a 500 team. That's what they are right now.
Yeah. How are they viewing the Warriors right now? Because I think a lot of people, Warrior fans, are like, oh boy, but they're still champions, right? Like, so it's very, very difficult to assess them. How do you think Dallas or you would assess them going into this game?
The Warriors?
Yeah. How do you view them right now? Are they wounded? Are they a team that you want to take out? Or do you still think that they have championship aspirations?
Well, you definitely want to take them out, but I don't think they can win a championship. In fact, I'd be surprised if they even got to the conference finals. I mean, they don't play defense.
Yeah.
And that has been, that's been the secret sauce to the Warriors for their championship run. I mean, everybody loves the offense. It's so pretty, and they, make so many passes, and they shoot it great and all that stuff. But they are able to do all that stuff still while turning it over at a ridiculous clip. I mean, they're second last in the league in turnovers. Only Houston turns it over more than they do.
Yeah,
and the only way you can overcome giving up extra possessions is to get stops. And they have always been able to get stops. They've always been a top 5 level defense in their championship years. They are hardly that this year. They're middle of the pack, which means that they're pretty ordinary, which means their record is what it is, as Bill Parcells would say, right? Your record is you are what your record says you are.
You know what, Chuck, though? I'm looking at the turnovers, and they committed 20 yesterday to a bad Houston Rockets team. They've always been a high turnover team, even during the championship years. But it feels like this year, the timing of the turnovers, where you mentioned defensively, they're not as good. They can't overcome that. But if they get wholesome, you don't think none of these teams in the Western Conference will see the Warriors in a 7-game series and say, boy, they are the champs. They're wholesome now. We know if any team is capable of doing it, and that's flipping the switch, they are capable of doing it. You don't think no team fears that?
I think teams will respect them. I don't think teams fear them.
Gotcha.
I just don't see it. I mean, again, you play the entire season, and this is 2022, 2023. It's not 2016 or 2018, anymore. And these guys are older. Sure, there are no more back-to-backs to worry about and things like that. I mean, look, they're like everybody else in the Western Conference. Everybody has flaws. The question is who can mask their flaws better. And the Warriors this year, to me, have had a harder time masking their flaws than most. So we'll see. But listen, I love who doesn't love watching Curry play and having him go off and see what he's capable of. He's on an incredible run right now since he came back. Clay's playing great. Looney's been terrific. I mean, Looney's probably had his best year as a pro. But Jordan Poole's been terrible. DiVincenzo's been a nice addition, but again,
what about Draymond Green?
They're so small. They're so small, and they play small that ultimately, in a 7-game series, I think they get beat up. I mean, I don't see them. I don't see them winning a championship, and I really don't see them getting to the conference finals at all.
Before we get you out, what's your thoughts on Draymond Green? Because you mentioned the roster there. What's your perception of Draymond Green this season, on and off the floor?
I mean, he's probably slipped a little bit. Again, I'm not around the team, but I still have to wonder how much of an effect the Draymond Green punch of Jordan Poole's had on this team emotionally. I mean, he's still a really terrific connective player. But is he difference making? Is he the guy that you're going to put on someone and totally shut them down? He's not that player anymore. But he's a good player. And I think maybe that's the story of the Warriors. The Warriors, I mean, they still have very good players, but they're not at the level that they were. And I realize that a lot of times it's very hard for fans and media to accept. But, hey, Father Time has never lost.
All right, Chuck. Have a good call tomorrow.
Great candor, Chuck.
Should be a lot of fun tomorrow down. What do they call it? AAA American Airlines Arena down there in Dallas in the Metroplex?
No, it's the American Airlines Center. The American Airlines Arena was in Miami. Does not exist in Miami.
Yeah, now I feel bad. Yeah. Now it's
I like the spray painted jerseys that say Mavs. Like they kind of have like that '90s Mavs colorway, the blue and the green, and
the Rolando Blackman
I
uniforms.
really like those jerseys. Those are really sharp.
They're fantastic. They're far and away the best the best City Edition jerseys the Mavericks have ever had.
Totally,
not even close.
All right, Chuck. Have a good call tomorrow.
All right, take care.
Chuck Cooperstein, straight shooter, voice of the Dallas Mavericks. A little spicy there. How much do you want to beat the Mavs tomorrow now?
Well, I kind of
I want the Warriors to kick their ass tomorrow now. I want the Warriors to beat their ass by 20.